Hello everyone and welcome back to this Division 2 video. Today we do some playing Every Division with Gruppa Tyurina. This is an interesting one that I think, while on critics tier list, which we're using for this, is relatively low. I think it's actually somewhat okay to decent from, quick play. I do not believe this is a good division. I wouldn't say that, but I don't think it's actually as bad as the tier list might imply, just because for quick play, there's a lot of mid to close range maps, and you might run into plenty of divisions that are not super good on those. And it has some tools. Now, the one thing that it can't do is range, but we're going to get into that. So, yeah, I do think there is something to it, but of course it has its issues, right? So, looking at this, it says tank division. I think it's more of a mechanized division at the end of the day with how it plays and how it's equipped. And the infantry top is actually quite large for tank division. But ultimately, I think this thing, it has something for the mid ranges. It doesn't have something that is really setting it apart from other divisions, right? So you don't have anything super efficient for those ranges. I think this is where a part of the problem of this division lies. You don't have anything that's particularly efficient for that range, and a lot of divisions that are good in those ranges do. But you have quite a bit of light armor, you have some nice infantry, especially for CQC. So, there is some strength to this division, and then you have some other stuff. So it's another one of those where that it isn't bad in that sense, it's just nothing special. However, in this case, I think it's at least, this is one of the nothing special that is a little bit better than a lot of the nothing special divisions. But it's still not a top one. But, I think this one is a fun one. One of the big weaknesses, especially for that range, of course, is not having a bazooka. So this is, I think, for a better way of putting this is kind of a toned down version of piechoty. Ultimately, right? It's T-34 dependent. You have some nice infantry, but just don't have infantry that is as good as one of piechoty, and they don't have as much light armor as piechoty does, and they don't have the efficient thing. But it kind of reminds me, the way I look at this, it reminds me a bit on that division, to be honest. So yeah, I do think it can do decently well on those maps. It's obviously really more of a mid-range one. It can work on close range maps due to the lighter tanks and some of the nice CQC infantry that you have. But obviously against a dedicated CQC division, it also would work. So that is what I see in this, and what I think about it. And as for the build, I do believe this is more of a Maverick or Vanguard build. I think both are actually fine for this division. I think either of them is perfectly functional. And, if you feel risky, you can try to build it balanced. I wouldn't recommend you to, because the artillery and the A-type, in my opinion, are not good enough for it, but you can spam out some of these artillery pieces if you really want to. You can also go super spam those. And I've seen people doing that to some success, so who knows. But ultimately, I do not believe that these two tabs are very good for balance, and the fact that it doesn't really have anything that sets it apart too much from most other divisions is something that I think is always not a good sign for balance. However, of course, in some divisions, it is good enough. So this is where the income that I think works best with it, but obviously, again, I think you can, in principle, make most incomes work, but it's definitely not one of those balanced divisions where I can just sit back and do the RT party and the grind war. You still want to win with a balanced income relatively fast, if you decide to go down that way. Recon, not that many options here. So this is the usual. These guys are, as always, useless. And then we do have the snipers, which I actually like to take a card. It's, it's quite nice for the opener. You can disrupt your opponent's opener. It's fast. It has range. And if this is a matchup or a map where this doesn't work too well, you still got 4 recon units at single vet, which is pretty nice. Then we take the motorized Zvetka. Reason why I take these guys over the dozer is the transport. It's another 50 cal, which is nice to have. Usually I'm not a fan of 20-point recon infantry, but I think this is worth it. And then the BA-10 for some light armor and T-34s. Infantry tab, here is where things are gonna get a little bit more interesting, and here's where the first choices start to come in. So one thing that I always love to take with Soviet Division for an explosive start is as a pair of PPSH. However, in this division I just can't fit them in. If the slots were cheaper, I would, but they aren't, so I do. But I think, you know, we could cut back on one CKC card in B phase, for example, then we're good. But I think it's not worth it. What we do take is Strelki DP in A, B, and C phase. So for C phase, obviously that we can also hold on for a little bit longer, quite well. And then in A phase, so you might wonder, why don't we take 2 cards of the good infantry in A phase? Well, we take the Strelki SVT, which for 20 points is actually quite decent. The SVTs are a really nice bonus on a 20-point infantry, and you can bring it with the 50 cal half track as well. And I particularly like this combination over what you very often see, which is a tanker with the 50 cal half track, which is you know, a transport that is always, if you have 50 cal half track, it's usually offered with the tankos, sometimes with other units, like in this case, sometimes not. The reason I prefer this is the tankers don't actually need the 50 cal half track. Having them in a half track is still nice, so I can get close to the CQC area without getting killed by small arms fire. But you don't necessarily need the 50 cal half track. Situations where this is useful do exist, but they are relatively rare. Now, this unit, on the other hand, while the SVTs are nice, is not the best unit on its own. So this actually could use the support of the 50 cal half track. So if you take it with a light infantry unit, you have the bonus of having the half track where the infantry is. It also has the nice bonus of your CQC being affordable, and this combination not being too expensive, which is why I like it a lot. Now in B phase, we have some more CQC options with the Sturmoviki and Sturmoviki Rocks, both are fantastic CQC units. Now, if you really want to have more CQC in A phase, especially if you play Vanguard, for example, you could take out of those in A phase. That would not be a bad call. You could also, if you want to have more CQC, and move one card to A phase, or you want to move one card to B phase, which honestly wouldn't be a bad call either. What you can also do, of course, is you can take the Aftos instead, and just decide not to take these good units, but go with more CQC, right? You get 4 more in B phase, and if you want to have some C, you know, you can decide not to take them. I think I personally think they're too good to not to take them. But if you're going for a playstyle where you value quantity over quality, this is perfectly fine as well. And obviously, them having the AT grenades is quite useful in some scenarios. Now, tank tab. Here's where it's going to get interesting. It's actually quite expensive, or getting quite expensive for a tank division, which is one of the reasons I don't think this is very much of a tank division. And we're going to go with one in A, B, and C phase. Now, there is an everlasting debate on whether you should take the 43 or 42 version. I am a firm believer in the 1942 version because there's 90mm of armor. So for the close to mid ranges is actually better. Unless you assume it's going to die anyway, then obviously this is perfectly fine. But this thing has more availability. It doesn't matter all that much in A phase. In B phase, it becomes noticeable, and C phase is actually quite a bit of a difference. So up to you which one you do. I personally prefer, again, the 90mm of armor version. So in my strong phases where I want to push, I'm going with the more armored ones. And in the later phase where I'm more on the defense, I go for the lower armored one. This also has the logic that, you know, when you push, you might run into AT guns, which is where the extra armor is useful. In the defense, less so. So this thing will do better. But also in A phase, I would definitely take one of these because we do have the recon one, which is lower armored anyway. So this, I think, works nicely together. And then we have a Steward in B phase. So in A phase, I will take the T4, as we're going to see just a bit. So I take these guys in B phase, so we have some cheap light armor in both phases. Support tab. I would love to fit another Flamer in here, but we can't. So we have the usual support tools, Maxim, this guy. Actually, we're going to ditch the Maxim and take the SG-43. They're quite a bit better. Flamer, and then the 20mm, so that we can support our infantry very well, because obviously CQC is already good, but we can make it better, and the line infantry could definitely use the help. And then we have this thing, which is the one thing that makes this division special. We get support Panzer Force, and that do not have the heat shell. And if you look at the vet curve, it is really quite bad. You lose half of it at single vet, and then another 50% off the single vet one for double vet. So I just don't vet it. For a reason for that is quite simple. The rate of fire is good as it is. The accuracy is all right enough, and we don't have the heat shell. So this is where I think the accuracy is most noticeable when you need to fight other things that this thing could potentially pen. But, you know, there's a few light tanks where this is the case. But for the most part, I think this thing should still win overall. And it is great for infantry support, obviously. This is our light tank in A phase, kind of. So, yeah, I take it Nova. We're going to all spam in here. A T-tab. Again, no bazookas and not in recon tab is one of the weaknesses of this division. Now, here you have some choices. I definitely, as always, want to have the 45mm. It's just so good. It is fast. You know, we have light armor, but this thing is fast. It has pen. It is just super useful. And I'm not going to go for the CIS-3 because we do have tanks, we do have infantry support tanks and all these kind of things. We have okay artillery as well for support, but what we don't have is pen, so we go with the CIS-2s and the SU-85s because this is what I would be most concerned about when looking at the AT tab and the air tab and everything else really. We also don't have the 85mm and the AA tab that we could use for help, so we need the pen, and this is what is needed to let us find at 1750 meter range. Now there's one slot left, so I just take the PTRS for an opener, making it very annoying for my opponent. This is also an option, but in my opinion, they're kind of worse because they can be quite annoying. It's not that they're useless, but in my opinion, the fast patrona having less damage is significant, and the availability is sort of low. So I much prefer, if we take something like this, I much prefer Superior PPSH. Obviously here we can't fit them in, so this would still be okay, but I think whenever you have these guys with the range and the fast transport, the combination is just too good to disrupt your opponent's opener. It does this way better, in my opinion. Now, AA tab, not that many options here, so we take the 25mm. Vet curve is not great for double vet, so we do not double vet them. But we get forward single vet, which is actually quite good. 37mm are 37mm, but obviously this is not great for the long run. Now, artillery tab, here's where it's going to get interesting once again. So this thing is quite bad, actually. It's a 76.2mm, so it's an F22. And it really doesn't do much, but it's 40 point. And here's the thing, so I've learned this from a Valsa to quote my sources correctly. You can actually buy 2 of those, which is 80 points, which is still quite cheap for an off-map, and you can actually do that in your opener because it's affordable. You can take 2 of those, drop them right on top of each other, and it actually is quite decent. Like, it's not going to be a super good off-map, but it will pin what you need it to pin. And that's what matters. And then you can push. So it does the job well enough, and it's actually quite cheap for that. So it's quite cost efficient in my opinion if you buy 2 of those and use them together. You can also use one on its own. If the little bit of pinning it does, sorry, if the suppression that it does, but maybe not full pinning of a lot of units, is already enough for you, then one of them is also useful, and for 40 points actually quite decent. Right, so if you just need to win the suppression fight so that you then can move in, that's also good enough, really. And then this thing, so that we have some 2K and additional AT. And we can also use it for heavier artillery if needed. When we don't need to do that, I prefer not to. So we just have the F22 with radar. It's actually fairly accurate, and it's an emergency AT gun as well, which you don't want to use it for because it's quite expensive for what it does. But it's nice to have. And again, within its radio range, it's actually quite decent as a support gun. Air tab, here is going to get a little bit interesting. So there's some options here, and I decided to just go with one kind of plan for this. And this can very easily be countered. This is one of those issues whenever you build your one of your tabs specifically for one thing only. And this is, I want to spam out those U2s. I could seriously see myself double vetting them, actually. Maybe we should. Because it gives them a little bit more. Oh, it's already exception, so we can't. Never mind. Just don't vet them. But they actually have quite a decent bomb loadout. They're quite cheap. Now they are super slow and they do not have recon. It's not like Chio in 20th Panzer, which is unfortunate. But it's still quite decent. But you will need. So obviously, you will want to have some recon for it to spot to make it more efficient, and you need to have some air coverage, because otherwise this thing dies very quickly. So this is kind of where this strat is a little bit risky with this division, in my opinion, because it doesn't have the ability to take out AA. So if your opponent has cheap AA, that's going to be that. Not much you can do about that. Now, other things to consider. We do have the L2 car, and you don't want to head on this. So this can provide us a little bit of air coverage against fighters at least. And so can the Yak 9. I would love to have more room in here, because then I would still keep the fighter bomber in case this can't be used. and then a proper fighter, which is a little bit faster. So that would be the ideal scenario. I just can't put it in at the moment, so I'm not going to do it. But this is an idea, and I want to test it out in this video. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's all right. The reason why I'm not a huge fan of the other options is, first of all, this thing is just too slow. Looking at it at a first glance, you're like, oh, this is kind of, you know, this might just be a hidden gem like the one in Rugmarupana, which is fantastic. But this one is actually quite slow. It's a cluster plane, so it also needs to fly over the target. And unfortunately, I do not know how much damage this actually does. Like, is this actually good enough? So maybe someone has tried it and can tell me. I have a feeling it's probably quite bad. If not for the damage, then just for the speed alone. So I wouldn't take it. But maybe someone comes in and tells me, hey, I actually get a lot of kills with this thing, and it might be good. So let me know in the comments. And these two, look, personally, I'm not a huge fan of Rocket Plane. This one is especially not that good. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It will just spread out quite a bit when there's AA. And this is another one of those AT planes where the rockets, well, basically all of them need to land to kill anything. The good thing for both of those is they have very good resilience, and they are decently fast for a very good resilience plane. Shooting rockets also means you don't need to be as close. They have a good chance of coming out. It's just the performance is probably not going to be that good. So you have to decide for yourself whether this is worth it to you. At the moment, I'm leaning towards no. And I'm just accepting the potential risk of me running into a tank I cannot kill at a range. But usually that will have AA anyway, so this thing will not be that useful. But yeah, so at the moment, I'm just accepting this risk. But maybe after this game, I might change some things around over here. But yeah, that is basically it. And I think we're just going to have to give it a go and see how it does in the queue. Oh. Here we are versus Platypus Bill, one of my viewers. So thank you a lot for playing this. This is again not a quick play one because I couldn't find an opponent. Platypus Bill was so nice to offer himself as my opponent. And so as always, when I play against another player, or as almost always, I have not had a saying in the map. He asked me if there's any map he should avoid to keep it, you know, somewhat interesting. So I said no long range maps, not no long range. I said no 2K maps. So some maps that have both would still be fine, but he chose Ocean North and 44th. So this is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be Soviet on Soviet. So I guess we're going to do the Civil War then. Now this is not too bad for me, honestly, because in those closer areas, I can actually shine with what I have. So generally speaking, my division has better CQC. However, his has better tanks and better support, better AT, better AT, better AA, and better air, and better RT2. But you get the concept, you know. What I do have that he doesn't have, and what he doesn't have an awful lot, I think, against that light armor. And again, I have more CQC. So in that regard, I think on the flanks, I should actually do quite well. So this is not the worst matchup. It's not the best matchup, but it's not the worst matchup. This is also very middle of the pack division, so the T-3045 is going to counter me quite nice in the open, which I can't contest as well. And obviously, we shouldn't forget about the... Okay, so first off, let's make sure we can't easily get pushed out of this. But yeah, and you know, obviously T-45 is going to be a bit of a problem for me because my division doesn't have as easy of a time going against those guys. Now, one thing that's actually good for me is, so yes, the OB25, which obviously is better in general. However, in this particular matchup, it's not, because these guys are, I think, a little bit cheaper. And I got more of them, which is good. Now, he has some air spammy tools, but we're gonna do this. I don't expect him to open with a fighter, and I don't expect him to open with AA. So maybe this is gonna work. I'm gonna have to wait and see if it actually does, but maybe it does. Okay, so the general plan here is just to have something in here so that maybe we can hold this. As always, there's no guarantee that we actually manage to do that. But there's at least a decent chance. Now on the hill, I want to have some of these guys as well. The question is now going to be, do we open with the off map or not? This is where it's obviously the most useful. but you also have tools there. He also doesn't have bazookas to my knowledge, so these guys, and then in B phase the M3L, so the Stews, are actually going to be quite useful for me, because he's going to struggle with those. And the AT rifles will not really be able to kill them that easily. But yeah, so we're going to do the opener. I kind of would love to have some air cover with these already, but I think that would just be a very, 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 very bad idea. But yeah, now the fact that it doesn't have light armor to rush in makes this way more holdable. This is, I think, the main concern. Light armor can kind of disrupt your deployments in here to make sure that you can fight over these flags. This is when it's going to be really tricky. Now, if this is not the case, I think this is holdable for blue side. Most of the time. But we're still deploying lightly. I'd rather, you know, lose those than not getting in anywhere. Now the question is, are we going to go push for this? And I say no, at least not directly. The reason for that is fairly simple. If we try to do that, most likely going to fail, since he has fast tools as well. They can try and stop that. So it's not that easy for me to do that, pull that off. Yeah, simple as that. Now over here, what we can do, curb stroke me this, not in the nice way, but you know, is that you can get in here actually relatively fast with flamer and a PTRS, and the PTRS will snipe some transport. So this is going to be a nice thing for us. Then we can bring this in, which for the closer ranges should be doing all the AT we need. Also fast. Now he's also going to be fast, so it's not like we're going to have a massive advantage there, but rather have it than not have it. And then we can follow up with some of these guys. And the leader. Maybe another one of these. I think we don't actually need the Strelky DP here. We have the things we need. So you can push. You guys will try to get in here. You just move up here. You guys move up here. We can see if we can get in there afterwards. I don't want to be too aggressive. We're definitely going to need these. He will also have some of these, so it's going to be a question of who is using his 20mm mortars better. But yeah, so we can. The good thing for us is this is actually something we can fight over later on. Like as long as we don't lose this, we can always get into the town over here. This one, I think, same thing kinda, but we get a nice opener for it. For this one, I don't get a nice opener, so probably don't try it. Oh, and of course, the star of this whole thing, we need to get a T4 in there. And moving forward over there. And then over here, I guess, is it even worth putting machine gun in here? Probably not, no it isn't. Sniper over there though, you can see some stuff. Well, actually, so what we're going to do is we're going to deploy a little bit lighter over here. So the purpose of this deployment over on this side is mainly to just not immediately get wiped. Don't mind as much about. So we're going to get some of these, and I guess a Strelky TP, and that should probably do the trick. Do we need... Now that's a question. This is actually expensive, but I think it's alright of an investment. But yeah, I think we focus on this flank first, and we're going to go for the other one. We kind of leave the open very, very vulnerable. I'm aware of that. I don't actually take any proper AT over here, but... And this is dangerous because this division will have good AT available. And then we're going to have to wait and see. I might buy these early. I might buy these late. I might not buy them at all. It will depend a little bit on the situation. But yeah, ready. Hold on, before I say ready, anything we can do with these that I haven't, you know, maybe I haven't used them to the fullest potential yet. We have some of them over there. We do have some of them over here. I mean, we could, okay. We're gonna try this. It's probably not gonna work, but I'm gonna set one in here. We're gonna go for maximum disruption here. As much as we can. And then this one can go... Where can he go, really? Actually, you know what? We're gonna send this all the way back there. Because in most cases, nothing's actually gonna be there to stop him from doing that. This one we're gonna send in there, just in case, you know. Well, most likely not gonna work. It's always nice to try some things out, you know. So this is what my main goal is gonna be here. Alright, so. We're gonna wait for what's the L2 car can spot. And then we're gonna go after it. I'm not deploying them right away. They're gonna be too slow anyway to snipe some transport. But I think about now is a time where we can send them. And I don't want to do any transport sniping. Like, there's things I do. There's things I don't do. Oh, he has bombs. Forgot about those guys. Yeah, he calls it off. I'm gonna kill it. Okay, so we need AA. I forgot that these guys exist. Good that I brought this. Also, any heavier here? No, that's a regular one. That's, oh, it's two SES-76s. Okay, apparently this only works against... Where's the other one? But damn. Kill this thing off, please. Right, let's bring these guys out. But this didn't really work too well. That's alright. Okay, maybe we should have deployed something else over there. Right, you can move in there. You can move here. You can load back in. And then we're gonna have to get some sort of AT out in the open. Oh, that's obviously not good. Yeah, that's not quite what I wanted over here. Okay. Oh. Didn't know that the 85 can kill them so fast. But I guess that makes sense. We need to get something in here. Oh, and this is obviously not very good either. Not really sure what happened there. Oh, 20 mils. Okay. Those happened. Come on. Jeez, this thing aims super fast. This time, though, I'm gonna get the kill there. There we go. Alright. So, I'm gonna bring something in here. I have to bring the Strelka DP in there. And then we try to get in there. We can maybe do a little flanking maneuver over here. Now we get some support tanks over here. And try to get the flamer in there. We're gonna get Tanko in there.
Противотанковое орудие заряжено и готово.
Я больше не могу.
Guess we're gonna get some of these guys up there too.
Противотанковое орудие заряжено и готово.
Alright, we got this back.
Товарищ.
Let's see what we can do now.
Припасы закончились. А, горит.
Right, let's see what's over there. We need to get some vision there. Oh, we can also bring these guys in. And let's bring this over there. Because I don't think it's gonna have AA over there just yet. And also, okay, we need to get some of these guys in to deal with that thing. Oh, he has AA over there. Never mind.
Сейчас развалится.
Так точно.
Okay, we need to have a tank there to deal with that. Did my Strelka DP get sniped, or did it just never arrive? Like it didn't arrive. No, we turn things around to some extent.
Готов открыть огонь, товарищ.
Guess I traumatized him a little bit with my opener.
Товарищ командир.
Alright, let's bring a tank there. Ourselves.
Сделали. Шагом марш. Да, товарищ капитан. Примкнуть штыки.
Okay. Okay, let's maybe get back in there. Let's pull this thing back.
Прикончили гадов.
Oh, he has an M. Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't know he had those because usually people don't take those. But they're actually quite good in this particular case because they will be good enough to deal with my U2s, or what they call it, U2, yeah. I mean, he also has them. His are just a little bit better because they're recon. And then we need to have a tank over there as well. At the moment we have a little bit of a tick. Now it's going to get away very soon. That's just going to be how it is. Yeah, the problem is this. Yep, the 2K. So I need to win those flanks eventually.
Отделение ждет команды.
Now let's see if we can maybe take a little shot at these guys. Oh, this is obviously not good.
Ждем координатов.
Why you guys can see that is a mystery to me, but the important thing is we can't, so that kind of sucks.
Ваша карета вас ждет, товарищ.
And then you move, and then you move as well.
Еще один готов. Есть для нас цель, товарищ.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem. Yeah, me not winning that flank so hard because I mismanaged my deployment, and me losing, or almost losing this flank is a real big problem.
Вперед! Весны
Right, you can just go after this now, and then we're gonna buy a proper plane.
больше не могу.
Слышу вас хорошо.
We're gonna get more of these guys in. Oh, no.
Вставай, страна.
Now his tanko versus my tanko, both a single vet.
Ай, яблоки груши, поплыли туману над рекой. Выходила за берег.
Here's a good thing. I don't think his tank can see mine, but I can see his
На позиции
M17.
вхожу в зону ПВО.
Ah, crap. Okay. Things not looking very good here.
Контакт с противником. Вставай, страна огромная.
Good. That's what I needed.
Корректирую огонь. В нас попали. Никто не выживет.
Alright, retreat. We need a leader up here, and we are gonna need Oh, actually, I can kill that with one of these from in here. That is in range.
4-я, ждет указаний.
It's probably rather over here.
Точно. В атаку! Ура!
Alright, and then let's take that tank fight to him. Let's see what we can do.
Ваши приказания.
Сравняемся с землей.
Вставай, страна.
Alrighty, tidy. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this now. And see how well that does. That if that ends up losing me the game, so be it. Okay, yes, more 20 mils over here. It's gonna be annoying. I'm just not as good as Micro anymore. Feel like.
Будьте начеку. Враг близко.
Сравняемся с землей.
За родину!
Пошли искать прицел.
Okay, now I got the Sturmovik rocks in there.
Взвод построен и ждет приказа.
Враг близко. Прицельте оружие.
Oh, this thing has a no, 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 no.
Куда мы направляемся?
Bit of an idiot for not seeing that. AT tab. Let's get this thing in now. Yeah, now it's obviously stopped.
Зацепили.
Very good job there.
Доложить нечего. Пора сваливать. Врача. Выдвигаемся.
Прикончили гадов.
Oh, what I forgot is this thing is also quite small. Yeah, we just have to. I could have moved it.
Отступая медленно. Ищу цель.
Зацепили.
Alright.
Заметить противника.
Could be worse.
Отступайте, но держитесь лицом к пуску. Такси готово.
Санитар! Так точно.
Наташа, снимай предохранителя. Мы идем на сближение. Мы готовы.
Вытащите
Maybe let's get
меня
some proper
отсюда.
artillery in over there.
За родину!
До пола газ. Надеюсь, мы найдем хорошую позицию.
Ваши приказания.
Артиллерия ждет приказа. Ваше приказание, товарищи. Нас неспроста Олимпиада называют. Молодец, наводчик. Просто укажите цель. Прекращаем задание.
Alright, let's bring another one of these guys now to kill that off.
Бьют со всех сторон.
And let's do the off-map spam here. Oh no, they're all taking the wrong way here.
Сделали! Оружие на изготовку!
Я думаю, меня подбили. Это командование, товарищ.
Я больше не
We're gonna need one of these here soon.
Товарищ командир. Все снаряды израсходованы, товарищ.
Oh, no.
Санитар!
Oh, he also has he's brought his own one now. Don't knock him up. Yeah, that's what you get for doing. Oh, that was to be expected. The problem is his is better. He has an actual, he has a proper off. Mine is cheap. You know, there's a value in that.
Противник. Понял.
Right, can we get the kill here? We cannot. Or we can scare it off. That counts for a lot.
Готовы сравнять их с землей, товарищ. Здесь и увидите.
Okay, if it's 20 millifires again, it's gonna get a blast here. And here's the thing, his counter push is gonna get stopped right away.
Вижу противника.
Мы тут как мишень.
Глядеть в оба.
Our transmission destroys it, he's not gonna move. Well, we need ammo anyway at some point for some of our units, so might as well do it now. And let's see what's over there actually.
Товарищ, не стреляй!
Can I come from this side maybe? Not really.
Оружие на изготовку!
Корректирую огонь. Смерть вашим сам. Враг близко. Защищайте орудие.
Okay, so to me it kind of looks like we could make a little bit... Oh, don't take this road. Oh no. Oh, actually it's taking the right one. Good.
Свод построен
Good, good,
и
good, good,
ждет
good, good,
приказа.
good. And then we can maybe go for a little adventure over there. Oh, it's doing the... Oh, crap. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. I'm just gonna let this empty itself out now. I mean, maybe need to get something in there.
Сделали их.
Alright, you can now push over here.
Приказа.
Атакую врага.
Вытащите меня отсюда!
And those guys are empty. That's alright.
Танковое орудие заряжено и готово.
Да, товарищ капитан.
Oh, okay, so the AP is still there.
Да, товарищ капитан.
Oh, what the? This is like the one small angle where this thing can shoot.
Готовы.
Range. And he found it. Damn. Well, you can still kill that off.
Готово.
Я больше не могу. Борис, ложись!
Okay, we need to deal with this now. If he ever gets too close, we have a go with that.
Санитар!
Боеприпасы закончились.
Отступаем!
А, горит. Приготовьтесь, ребята. Понял.
No, this was a misclick. I don't want it to do that. He also should get something in here because otherwise he knows that he can basically just push there. Without much consequences. Something's gonna be... Oh. Right in there.
Товарищ, смерть фашистам. Выпущу вас там.
Отделение ждет команды. Я больше не могу.
Опять по дороге.
Отделение ждет команды.
Смерть фашистам. Жду приказов. Подвигайтесь, но будьте начеку. Замечен противник. Приготовьтесь.
Борис, ложись! Вставай, страна огромная.
Okay, let's make sure that we attack the right thing over there. We're still blasting away. This is a bit of a problem. Still have some of these guys left though.
Принято! Прикончили гадов. Свод построен и ждет приказа. Отделение ждет команды.
Все наружу. Осторожно, заметен противник. Жду приказов.
Oh, gunshot, that's super lucky for me.
Чертова американская радиостанция не хочет работать. Чертова американская радиостанция не хочет работать. Понял?
Вижу противника. Санитар! Камрад, камрад!
Атакую врага. Жду ваших указаний. Назад.
Over here, things are not looking very good.
Товарищ.
And I'm just too slow on the mic at the moment, so they're really punishing me.
За родину!
This is one of the weirdest engagements I've done so far. Oh boy.
Враг близко. Защищайте оружие.
One is gonna have to go over there. The L2 carrot can maybe do some stopping over there.
Ставлю вас туда вдоль.
And you can start planning whatever is over there.
Есть приказы, товарищ.
Борис,
And
ложись!
you need to deal with whatever is there. Don't chase that. Just gonna die.
Готово. Счет на попадание в трубы. Товарищ командир. Как только подсказываю.
Okay, we got a tick though.
Ищу жертву. В нас попали.
За родину!
Oh, there's an artillery thing that I could potentially kill. We're just gonna go all the way around there and hopefully get a kill there. Come on, shoot at it.
Товарищ.
Loader knocked out. That's unfortunate.
Да, товарищ капитан. Борис, ложись! Точно. Оружие на изготовку!
Right, let's get some close range AT in there.
Еще один готов.
Стрелки готовы!
Maybe a leader for that.
Хорошее попадание. Готов для работы.
That didn't go well.
Есть. Цель захвачена. Огонь.
Зацепили!
Now, why can't you hit the thing?
Молодец.
Okay, you got it.
Санитар!
We need something for in there, but at the moment,
Оружие
a
на
little bit tricky,
изготовку!
unfortunately.
Все наружу.
Сделали! Я больше не могу! Товарищ, не стреляй!
Назад.
Oh, something just died. This thing. It's obviously not good.
Изготовку!
Just shoot at whatever you can over there.
За родину! Санитар! Отделение ждет команды.
Can you win that? Probably not, but you might. Oh,
Вижу противника.
Палец на спусковом крючке. Да, товарищ.
Санитар!
Враг близко. Защищайте орудие.
Right, sorry, I've been a little bit quiet because my opponent is not bad, but I knew that. But he's giving me more of a headache than I would have expected, actually. So I'm doing all I can, but it's not easy. Hill pressure, yes. Right. Well, I should shoot at that. It's not going to be alright. Honestly? Oh no, it died to... Okay, something up there. Based on the line of sight. Let's see what we have here. Oh, no, not there.
Вижу противника.
Oh, I forgot about those guys. Crap. Actually, we can deal with that now. Forgot about that too. And over here we can get some support going as well. Oh, don't mind if I do. Wait, oh, there's a sea. Oh, I didn't see that. Crap, that is it. That explains a lot. I was wondering already. That explains it. Oh, that's it. Stupid me. Stupid me. Right, I'm gonna need some support tool over there to get in there. And I need this to not fail me. Just once. Okay, now you might want to get back because he can shoot at you. Yep. Exactly. Okay, kill that AT gun. I thought this was long that, but I was wrong. It wasn't. It's gonna stress it out or kill it. Should have gone for this. That's alright, we're gonna bring in more EA.
Отделение ждет команды. Нам нужны боеприпасы.
And we can engage you from over there. Yeah, call him back. We can fight that. That's good. You can just shoot at that thing over there with 4 minutes to go. Just need to keep it going somehow. Just need to keep it going. But winning the flanks does the job for us. We just can't lose the center now. And if it is this close, we might as well re-engage. Actually, no. You have this thing. Let it do its thing. No need to risk it. If you have another leader, which we don't know, would very much love to buff up my AA. That's alright. We're gonna use what we have. And we should be able to make do. No, this is not really what I was planning on, but I guess we're gonna lose that flag now.
Зацепили. Ваши приказания. Зацепили.
I can bring this a little bit further forward.
Вытащите меня отсюда.
And then we're gonna move you Like, I don't know, maybe over here, because I'm assuming an arty strike is going to come in after that. And I guess we're going to have to bring a tank. Still going to bring the better one as long as we have them.
Санитар!
Come on. Don't be shy. Give me what I need. Do it.
Санитар! Да, товарищ капитан.
And now you can kill it off.
Орудие заряжено!
No. It's turning. Shoot before he can shoot. No! I mean, yeah, this thing has AT. And he's using it well. Okay, so we're gonna have to prepare here for an airstrike, because I can't lose flags right now. So airstrikes are actually my main worry at the moment.
За родину!
Let's make sure that we can maybe get some support and or 18 there, or both, ideally. We start thinking about a way to retake this. Okay, that didn't quite go as planned, but we're still at 16-8. So far, things are looking good. Life's good. More or less, somewhat. And there is the tier 2. Yeah, that's what I expected. But he can clear this out, he can't clear this out. It's okay.
Борис, ложись!
Right, let's start hammering this. Yeah, he's still not going to get the flag back. That's what really matters here. Let's get some more support in. That's what matters most at the moment. So I'm giving up on the U2s yet, but not really going to work here. And these guys, we're just ignoring them at the moment.
Так точно.
Like, stupid as it sounds, it's the best strategy we have. And, actually, we can buff this up. This would be really useful. So we just need to hold on a little bit. Actually, I don't really want to... I guess I have to manually target it. I don't want whatever is in there to stay in there. That's my main concern. Because that is a flag that I lose. I don't mind about this. I'm not going to get this flag back now. I'm not going to bother defending it. Simple as that. We should actually send this over here to... Actually, over here. I'm an idiot. Because then we can resupply this.
За родину!
You two, oh yeah, that's going to be a problem. Going to get the bombs off. This thing is good. It's one of the divisions that has it.
Приказы, хлоп.
Of the reason why this division is not too bad. So at the moment, I'm mainly worrying about getting infantry in to hold ground. So anything that gives us or keeps us flags is most valuable to me. Everything else, not as important. And there comes the GG. Whoop. There we go. 24 seconds left. At this point, he can't turn it around. But that's Tyurina on the sets. I mean, obviously, it's a good map for us. Or one of the better ones. Slightly outtraded, but he did quite well. He just... I think the cheap off-map is really what saved the day for me. His off-map, I feel like... I've only seen one calling, so my guess would be died in the strike. The nice and everything. 4 callings of these guys are quite nice. As you can see, it wasn't particularly powerful, but it worked off quite well. Now, this thing actually worked quite well until it didn't. But, you know, it did fairly well for quite a while. Obviously, there was some part in the open that I botched a little bit. And it didn't look so well for quite a while. I think the big issue that, or his big issue is, I think he could have won that if he had just pushed the center harder. Like, she should have pressured me all the way back to my hill, and that would have been a lot of flags in the open that I couldn't really contest, like, because he has a 2k. It would have been quite tricky for me, so he blundered that a little bit. He would have won this if it wasn't for that. So it was quite lucky there to get my win. We both decided to suicide light planes by the looks of it, because he continued to use those guys and I continued to use mine. I just lost mine and decided not to buy anymore at some point. I guess he survived all the way. I didn't see all of them die, maybe. Oh, look at that tanko go. It surrendered so many things. I think there was the one on the right in the forest. Maybe the one on the left could also have been possible. Some of the T-34s did quite well. But I mean, I think this map was quite nice to show the limitations. That range is going to be quite tricky, and not having good artillery is also a bit of an issue. But having those light planes and having those cheap off maps, it counts for something. Right? It really does. And then you have good CQC, so you could see that he couldn't really fight my CQC anymore. He probably had his AFTOs. It's just against a Shumoviki Rock or regular Shumoviki, which counts the AFTO perfectly. It's just not quite enough, and the light armor obviously quite useful. Oh, we got another M17 there, yeah. This thing did some value. There's a lot of things that did things, and that's what really adds up at the end. But he also got some good openers with the M42, with these guys. The SS76 did some good work as well. My right-hand side kind of collapsed, but I guess that was a T34, which obviously the T4 cannot really find. O25 was quite good. 37 mils. Yeah, I suicided my planes. That's it. Off map, they could. Oh, we haven't checked. We have to check afterwards. Yeah, the SU-152 is. That thing is a beast. T2S, obviously fantastic plane. Did quite well as well. Okay, let's go back. Let's see if my off map did anything at all. But I think he probably killed his off map because I haven't seen another strike. Might have been wrong, but. Well, how does it do? It's cheap, isn't it? Yep, there we go. We got it. That was quite lucky. If you haven't gotten that, I think that flank, I might not have won that, and then maybe the game I wouldn't have won. Because in a whole long grind, his division is definitely better than mine. He would have just bombed me to death, really. But anyway, GG's to him, and let's go back, and thanks for the game, and let's go back to the deck. So there's one thing that I did change, and it wasn't actually a change, but so as you might have noticed during the game, I forgot to save this, and so I just quit after I changed the SG43. Took that one, and so I had the Maxims in the game, but now I put the SG43 in. Now, honestly, the Maxims aren't that bad. They are quite useful. It's just the range that is limited, so you have to decide for yourself whether this is good or not. I kind of feel like with the tools that we have, you don't necessarily need the Maxim full close range support as much, so the SG might be more valuable to us. Because for the little bit longer ranges, we might need it more. But obviously, I could be wrong, so I don't think there's a wrong choice here between SG and Maxim, really. But yeah, so this is the one change that I made. Other than that, I'm quite happy with it. Now, I still want to point out that this is not perfect. We've seen the limitations here. Obviously, 9 of those are a little bit too much, but I just don't see the benefit of adding it, really. So there's that. Now, this would definitely have been useful if that was a bit faster, so we had a proper fighter, because their A is a little bit problematic. However, at the same time, the bombs were useful in one or two situations where the Taman definitely didn't get in. So I think ultimately I'm going to keep it. What I wouldn't do, though, is switch it out for the P3, because I really think that, the gun, as bad as it is, it's kind of useful for this division. So I would keep that around. But other than that, I think I'm actually quite happy with it. I think the concept of this div isn't too bad. Obviously, we've seen issues here, but none of the major issues this takes away. I don't think you can't take anything here that makes your range issues go away. I think we have enough tanks as it is. The infantry, weirdly enough, was enough as well. Now, obviously, that was because the game ended decently fast. It could have been a lot more longer and grindier. I wish I had C-phase CQC, to be honest, but I think it's okay. If you don't waste your infantry like I do, I definitely threw a lot of it away quite unnecessarily, then I think the 68 that we have is actually enough, since again we play more like a mechanized division. But no, still, it wouldn't be wrong to take more infantry. And again, I do think you can play the air type differently. You can definitely go with the PE3s, which won't really die. And then you just have, they're not going to perform that well, but you can continuously use them for airstrikes for all eternity, basically. And then if you want to do that, I would take one of these, the rocket ones, and then, an AT one and an HE one, I think both in A probably, and be done with it. I wouldn't take the Yak 9. I would still take the IL-2 because that helps with the AT plane, so that it can actually, hit the tanks, even if it tries to move out of line of sight of you. That being said, though, if you do that, I would recommend taking a fighter. It wasn't really useful here, obviously, but as we've seen, the AA is a little bit on the weaker side, so a fighter might be necessary in this game. It turned out not to be that useful, but part of that is also just how slow this is, and honestly, the 570 kilometers one would definitely do a lot better. Obviously, that is also not great because it's only 120 mil, but might have to do. This one is obviously also an option because it's only 10 kilometers an hour slower, and it has the 37, which is quite nice. But yeah, so this is, I think, where we're at with the AA tab, with the air tab. So I definitely think this would be reasonable changes too. This is a bit riskier. I'd say high risk, high reward. You get a lot of efficiency from it, but it is a bit riskier at the end of the day. This one, not as much performance, but you will continuously get value out of those planes, whereas here you might not. This is kind of how I look at it. Now, my impressions on the division haven't really changed at all. I stand with it. It is a mid to close range division that, can at those ranges, as we've seen on the flanks, for example, fight divisions that, are either equally good or not good at those ranges. But for long range, it's really not that good. And obviously, there are units even at the mid to close range where this division will struggle against. The lack of Panzer Shreks is definitely, or bazookas or whatever you have, it's definitely an issue for this. Now, this is something I think that hurts the division a lot because this is something that is quite important at those ranges. But again, it is just a very mid-tier division for those ranges. I think this is where we're at, ultimately speaking. But it felt fun to use. And it has some nice touch. The off-map, by the way, huge hero. So one of the things that really makes this super good. So I learned this from Avalza. Thank you so much for. Well, he showed it to me in a game. It's not like he told me, but we talked about it afterwards. And so this is a really nice trick with the double off-map, actually. So yeah, that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and see you all in the next one.